right, at 7 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion by Councilmember Henry.
I'll second.
And a second by Councilmember Sayre. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, there's nobody here for community comments, so we'll move right through to presentations and reports. We have Brady Jewell with us tonight, who is the president of the Southern Valley Alliance Board of Directors. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor.
Thanks
Good
for joining
evening,
us.
Council. It's
Welcome.
my pleasure. Try not to get feedback.
Oh, it's not too much of an issue with these mics.
All
You'll be
right.
good.
The mayor pointed out when I said thanks for letting me be here that anybody can be here because it's a public comment, but not everybody gets to present. So I do appreciate it. I appreciate your time, staff and council and mayor. Again, I am the president of Southern Valley Alliance, formerly known as Southern Valley Alliance for Battered Women. Over the last couple of years, we've been trying really hard to expand our presence in Scott and Carver County. We changed our name to Southern Valley Alliance because last year, with our new director, we encompass all victims of domestic violence. Before, it literally was just women, domestic violence victims that were female. We realize, and myself, I'll go a little bit about that, and I'm in law enforcement. Been there for 26 years, so I've been working with Southern Valley Alliance for 26 years. Only had the opportunity to start serving on the board in 2019. I am the current chief of police at Elko New Market Police Department, way down in southern Scott County. So Southern Valley Alliance is the only nonprofit, full, all-encompassing domestic violence advocacy group in Scott and Carver County. So we work with every law enforcement organization in Scott and Carver County, and we're referred to the victims of domestic violence at every call. Our number is given out. Southern Valley Alliance is full service, as I said before, advocacy for domestic violence victims. We service them by providing advocates to go to court and help obtain order for protections, domestic abuse no contact orders. We help provide assistance for sheltering through hotel vouchers. We provide counseling and services of all types for victims. We recently, in order to increase our presence in Scott and Carver County, purchased a property in Shakopee, right across the river, right across from the courthouse. So we're very excited to be there. We're doing a very large capital campaign to get donations to improve that house that we just bought and make it more accessible for both the employees and the people that need our services. So we're very excited about that, moving to Shakopee, to get into the center of the county and be able to support more victims of domestic violence. So reason I'm here is to bring awareness that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I forwarded some pamphlets to Katie, who's going to put them on your social media and get them to everybody. But one is the Purple Light campaign that we're featuring, and it's asking people to put purple light bulbs outside of their homes to bring awareness to domestic violence so that when people ask about it, they'll be able to tell them about it. It's a tough color because people might just think you're supporting the Vikings as their football teams or Mankato or whoever, but it's shine a light, save a life. So it's to bring awareness to the need in Scott and Carver counties. Also, too, we're featuring our awareness signs, yard sign campaign, and we're asking that people go onto our website, svamn.org. Again, that's svamn.org, and order one of these signs. We ask for a $10 donation for the yard sign, just to help to cover the cost of the signs. But between those two things, the purple light, putting signs out in your yard, we're asking people to bring awareness to the cause. With that, I want to wrap it up because I don't want to take a lot of your time, and I also want to offer anybody to ask questions about SVA, and then I'll give you their phone number. So again, incredible organization, been around for 40 years, started in Belle Plaine. It's the only Scott and Carver County nonprofit full service advocacy for victims of domestic violence. As a member of law enforcement in Carver County and Scott County now for 26 years, I've been there and seen this organization help dozens and dozens of families get through, survive, and thrive after domestic violence. So I really appreciate your time letting me be here to bring awareness to this, and I'm here for questions if you have any right now.
Questions? Questions? So I'm curious, Katie gave me a tour of the Belle Plaine office. You guys are moving everything up to Shakopee
Correct.
into what is now a house.
Yes, so across the street from the courthouse, and I cannot stress enough how important it is to be central to the need.
Yeah.
Belle Plaine was wonderful for this time, but it's so hard to get, as you know, the worker crunch that we're having right now. It's even harder to get volunteers, people to volunteer to help out. And so Belle Plaine is not on transit. It's so far to get to, and not only for victims, but also for volunteers and advocates that want to help out. So getting back into Shakopee, into the center, the hub of where all the resources, all the courthouses, where social services are, the county attorney's office for prosecutions, the courthouse for obtaining order for protections and domestic abuse no contacts orders, and it's right near transit, parking. So we're really excited, but it is a very cute 100-year-old 2-story Victorian house. So it's very charming, very welcoming, and right now the challenge is just getting it ready to be a business and to serve our organization and move in advocates and then to see clients and everything. We're very excited about it.
Good. Yeah, she mentioned, boy, I don't know, when I was down there probably a year ago, and she mentioned just the challenges of being not on the transit line and being in Belle Plaine, just a little bit off the beaten path.
Yep.
My only other question for you is you talked about the evolution of the name. I'm just curious, what percentage of your victims are male?
I don't have an exact number. It is small. I would, just in my experience in law enforcement, I'd say 5 to 7%.
Okay.
And it's a cultural thing. The reason why they only served females for so long is because such a majority of the victims were female, and culturally and our gender roles, a male calling the police for help because they're being assaulted by their female partner, it didn't happen that often. And if you want to talk about hesitancy to report and probably underreported numbers, I think it's a very underserviced portion of our victims. And Southern Valley Alliance has been moving under our new director, Christy Larson, to encompass all victims and not just female victims. And as I said before, in 26 years, I've arrested many females for domestic violence. Not the same percentage, but domestic violence is domestic violence. It doesn't matter what sex you are as a victim. It's devastating. It's devastating to the family. And in law enforcement, since I started, it's always been a mission of mine to break that cycle of domestic violence. Oftentimes in our culture, 20, 30 years ago even, and 26 years I've been in, I've seen it change a ton, but you would go to the same homes every week and see that cycle because we didn't have the tools to interject and to stop that violence. And through legislation that Minnesota is on the forefront from, community value-based policing, interjecting where we can, and realizing the importance of breaking that cycle, not just for the two people, the parents, but for the kids, the family as well. So we're passionate about it. We do everything we can, so that's why we're constantly trying to fundraise to get more resources to help more victims. And this move into Shakopee is going to be huge to help that cause, and we're really excited about that. Our phone number, 952-873-4214. Again, that's 952-873-4214, and then svamn.org. Anybody can go to the website, call that up, and get resources. 24 hours a day, we have advocates answering the phone. And they'll start the process to get assistance to anybody right then and there.
Great. Thank you.
My
Appreciate you
pleasure.
coming. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Not only for letting me be here, but presenting.
Appreciate you coming and presenting. Thank you. Let's see. Moving on to the construction update for the Jonathan Carver Parkway Improvement Project. Mr. Schmidt.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Let's see, I have a short presentation for tonight. And it looks like it's coming on now.
Well, it's that short, huh?
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Brenda. All right. Yes, tonight we have an update on the Jonathan Carver Parkway project. Today marks the start of a very big week for us on the project. So probably the biggest week here that we're going to experience on the job. This is the week where all the final paving occurs on the project. So lots of activity going to be going on that corridor this week. So stage 3, the road is open, one lane in each direction, which is the case this week as well. Some key updates. Project landscaping is underway. You may have seen there's some trees that have now been installed. The landscape plantings within the roundabout center is done. They're also starting to work on the decorative monuments around the roundabout area. Some foundation work has been completed for that. So lots of things are starting to really come together quickly on the project. The gravel parking bay on the south side of the fire station, that agreement that we made last meeting, that work's all been done now too, so that's good. As I mentioned, final asphalt paving plan for this week. I'll get into those details on the next slide. Then just kind of outlook for the next couple weeks here. After the dust settles this week with all the paving activities, they'll get any of the final topsoil in those medians, kind of getting every last bit done, and then probably by the end of next week they'll be doing all the permanent striping on the road. So that will really start to make it look nice after that's done. And then the week of 10/18 here in 2 weeks, after the contractor's done with kind of the main corridor work, the landscaping sub is going to be kind of finishing the rest of the corridor up and up on the north end and on the south end as well. So there's a couple spots left where he has to work yet. Yes, sir.
What's going where all the black dirt is?
In the center medians. Yeah. So that's a combination. It's primarily like native grasses. Okay. There's some trees in there, but
native grasses.
Yeah. And then also the week of 10/18, there is one piece of trail left by Carver Square over there in the southwest quadrant of the roundabout. That's the last piece of trail that has to be completed. So they will be bringing in a small trail paver to finish that up. So those are the key updates. Looking at this week specifically, the theme for the week is please expect delays. That's really all we can say. It's going to be a very hectic week, but I know everyone's been patiently waiting for this day to come, and we'll say it'll get much better after this week. So please take your time. If you do have to drive through this corridor this week, drive slowly, and please be keeping your head, watch for construction workers out there. And if possible, if you can avoid Jonathan Carver Parkway this week, if you can use other routes to get around, please do it. We would really appreciate it. So something else you'll see, so obviously the main line paving has to cross all those intersections, right? So that paver doesn't stop. When it's moving, it keeps going. So every single intersection will require flagging. So if you're on a side street looking to get onto Jonathan Carver Parkway and the paver is right there, at that time when you might have to wait 5 to 10 minutes at some times. So it's just the way mainline paving works. So that's just part of the be patient for this week theme. So today they started, they had to do some pavement milling on the north and the south ends of the project where it ties into the existing section. So they did that work, and they also started to pull out paving on the side streets in preparation for tomorrow and Wednesday, which is that mainline paving operation. So tomorrow they'll start by paving the outside through lanes of Jonathan Carver, and then Wednesday switch to the inside lanes. And Thursday they'll wrap up anything that might be left, and then finish up north of 212, north of the interchange. That's the last thing that'll happen. So hopefully, yeah, by the end of the week, all that mainline paving should be done. So that is about all we can hope for at this point. There's some pretty cool pictures out here. Michael Jabs took a few last week. So this is the roundabout, obviously looking kind of towards the southeast, towards Community Park. As you can see, there's trees that have been installed now. Here's another picture kind of looking up the corridor from the roundabout. So there's the center of the roundabout looking north. And lastly, here is a picture of the new parking bays for the fire department. When they get a call, they can quickly pull in on the south side and park their vehicles there. So all that's coming together really nicely. Any questions?
Can you go back a couple slides? Right there.
Okay.
Where the dump truck's at, on the south side of the roundabout. You have two overheads there. What's
Yes.
going on there?
That's the rapid flashing beacon for the
Oh.
pedestrian crossing.
Got it,
Yep.
got it.
But that leads nicely into my question. When is that going to be functional?
So the contractor thinks that should come together about the same time as that final paving, which will make that connection by Carver Square.
Okay.
So we're thinking it's probably going to be that week or maybe the last week of October. So it's coming together pretty nicely timing wise there.
And I assume they'll do that at the same time as the fire department beacon.
The fire department beacon, I don't know the exact timing on that. I know we talked about it at the last meeting, and it's something that we brought up to them that this is still something hanging out there. So I think he had to ask his subcontractor that does the electrical work to make sure he has the equipment to put it up. So
Okay. Sorry, I jumped in. Do you have
No,
any other
no.
questions?
No, we're good.
Okay. Anything from you? No? Okay. Thank you.
yep, you're welcome.
All right, we have no public hearings tonight. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Councilmember Henry. I'll second. And a second by Councilmember Sayre. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. Moving on to business items. 8.1, the Well 6 improvements. Mr. Schmidt again.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. So this is the Well 6 improvements. This is the formal action. I've spoke about this here a few times in the past couple months, and I'm excited to present tonight that these things are all coming together very nicely into formality here. So we have in front of us 3 actions for tonight for the Well 6 improvements. One of which is a change order associated with the water treatment facility improvements project. That project is responsible for the Well 5 well house project, scope of that work. So it's simply just an oversizing of that well house by a few feet dimensionally to accommodate the additional process piping within it to support the second well. Action 2 is a change order on the Well 5 drilling contract. So that contractor that is on that Well 5 site will be drilling the second well that's 20 feet away and going into the Jordan Aquifer with that well 6. The third action that we'd be looking at tonight is approving a quote from Schneider Excavating to extend the well 6 water main out to the previously installed water main along 212. That was done earlier this year. So that would be the third action. So that would bring everything together on this site. I wanted to go to the overview for a reminder for everybody. So this blue water main here was previously installed to accommodate both bringing down well 4 and then well 5 to the new water, or to the water treatment facility expansion over here. So the well 5 site is right here. It's an outlot in the Meridian Fields development that's owned by the city of Carver. And we are proposing to drill well 6 literally 20 feet away from well 5 as a nested well is what we're calling that. So what this means in general, from a budget perspective, it's extremely favorable. We had budgeted $1.6 million for well 6 and its associated site improvements. That is because at the time, the DNR doesn't let you drill 2 wells at the same time. You need to drill 1 well, show them the effects to the aquifer, and then they basically approve it and allow you to go to the next spot and drill another well. So at the time, we didn't know exactly how things were going to shake out as far as siting well 6. We had our preferred sites, obviously, that we were looking at. And what we had done when we budgeted and bonded for the project was we took the kind of the conservative site as far as money is concerned, and we budgeted the $1.6 million, which would included a whole new well house, site preparation for a whole new site, extending a raw water main a much further distance. All those sorts of things added up to that $1.6 million. So as you can see here, based on adding up those three things I just described, we're coming in under $600,000 easily. So we're legitimately looking at this point, a $1 million savings on the total project budget. So that is extremely exciting news, and it's something that we will definitely hold on to as we continue to advance the water treatment facility and all that stuff. But very confident that we're going to have a pretty decent chunk of money that we'll be doing something with at the end of the job. So,
Great.
so yeah, all things considered here, we got really lucky when we found that Jordan water at well 5. So, any questions?
Questions?
What can be done with that $1 million savings?
It's a good question. So there's a couple options. There's obviously always the option of just putting it into debt service and paying off your debt sooner. The other one is looking at different water type infrastructure projects. Obviously we need to, we'd have to contact bond counsel and talk to them about that. What's eligible based on the bonding that we took out for this project. But that's typically an option, is exploring, doing other projects with the leftover money. So.
Any other questions?
I have 2 questions.
Go ahead.
So on the 3 items for us that you're asking for approval on, that third one, how is it that we're being asked to accept a quote? Like, was this something that this excavating that wasn't part of the original scope of the project, or
So
why is this one I feel like pulled off, or why is this being brought to us?
So we had a water main contract that was associated with this overall expansion effort. 2 things with that, one of which, that project is substantially complete. So the contractor isn't around anymore. They're not on the site actively doing work. So we thought that it made sense, if we had the ability to quote the project, given the circumstances, that it would be the right thing to do. So that was the primary reason why we did it. So, and then, from time to time, the contractors aren't really willing to do the work. Other stuff like that comes up too. So they don't have to do the change order work if you request a change order. So it just made sense on this one with the water main piece. It's a very standalone piece that can be separated out. There is an active work happening on the site like there is for the water treatment facility contract and the well drilling. So it's easier to take that up to the side and do a quote for that.
Okay.
So.
All right. And then, and thank you for looking out for our interest in the cost savings. I mean,
Mhm.
you said, it was just fun to watch you present that, but you're like, this is really exciting. But I wish we could show like a lot more emotion, because
Yeah.
I think it's really
No, it's a really big deal, and I hope everybody understands
Yes,
that. Like,
yeah,
when-
I think I understand, but I agree that it's a big deal, so thank you to you and your firm. And this might not be something to be answered today, but knowing now that, that we're seeing that, I guess here's my question, was there anything taken out of the scope of the product because it seemed too costly? Like, oh, we're really trying to be conservative here, that maybe now it is something that, like, for whatever reason, down the road, we'll be glad we did it, or we could see a cost savings further in the future, but initially, we'd have to put some type of investment in. So if there was anything, I would like to know about that. Does that make sense?
sure, yeah, totally makes sense.
Is it?
I can't think of anything that really, jumps out at me that we weren't really cutting corners. I think we have a really good plan. Chad can definitely comment if he, we can talk at a staff level and see if there's anything that we, maybe it was maybe a want but not a necessity type thing, and we could definitely report back on that. But off the top of my head, I think, like I said, we have a really good system that's going to be in place, and
I also think that if you think back to our meeting 2 weeks ago, we've got a long-term financial plan of items that would be used, that we could potentially use those enterprise funds for, that maybe we bump up something. So I think that that's definitely, but then we just put the money back into debt service. So, but I think that that's a conversation for a different night, but I'm sure Brent's already working on it and trying to figure out the best use for that money.
it's definitely better than having the conversation on the other side of the coin.
Yes.
Where we gotta get more
Right.
money.
Yeah, so we can all smile about that right now, which is good.
Yes. All right, if there aren't any other questions, I'll make a motion to approve change order number 1 in the amount of $125,253 $125,253.60 for the water treatment facility improvements project.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Mayor Johnson and a second by Councilmember Henry. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
You're on a roll.
I'll make a motion to approve. Y'all just don't want to read the numbers. A motion to approve change order number 1 in the amount of $295,179 even for the municipal well number 5 project.
I'll second that.
Once again, we have a motion by Mayor Johnson and a second by Councilmember Henry. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I'll
All
step
right,
in.
motion passes. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to accept the quote for Schneider Excavating and Grading in the amount of $59,383 for well 6 raw water main extension.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Councilmember Sayer and a second by Councilmember Henry. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, with that, any communications updates from the council, Lori?
I don't have anything.
Okay, Glenn?
No, don't have anything.
All right, let's see, I have a few, sorry, I wasn't quite ready. Let's see, a couple weeks ago, I spoke to Mrs. Rotunda and Mr. Waller's, I think it's 7th grade civics classes at Chaska Middle School East. If you guys haven't met them yet, they're both Carver residents, and they always ask me to come in. It used to be face-to-face. This year, once again, it was virtually, but it's a lot of fun and kind of cool to hear where the 7th graders' heads are at in the forms of the questions that they ask about being mayor. Carver Fire Relief had their golf tourney on September 24th. That was a Friday that it started raining right around noon, which was supposed to be the time that everybody was supposed to tee off. But they ended up postponing the tee off just for an hour, and it turned out to be one of those really all over the place kind of days, but it ended up to be a really nice day. So it was a lot of fun. We had a Carver Fire Relief meeting last Monday night. The last Carver Farmers Market of the season was last week. If you guys went on their social media channels, I think primarily Facebook, they're kind of soliciting responses from folks about what was their favorite thing. So I think they're using that as part of the research that they're doing to figure out how they can do bigger and better next year. So if you have a favorite vendor or a favorite aspect of the farmers market from this year, please check that out. And the only other thing is we had the Carver County Mayor's meeting last Friday. So that is it from me. Is anybody doing city updates? No city updates? No. All right. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Councilmember Henry
I'll second.
and a second by Councilmember Sayer. We don't have to discuss it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. Good evening.